All right, my friends, let's say our affirmation together. I am one with God. I am one with humanity. I am one with all. We're in the process of exploring the 7 last words of Jesus leading up to our Easter Sunday, which is in about 3 or 4 weeks, 3 weeks from now, something like that. And so the first word that we looked at was, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. The first step in our journey of transformation is we have to forgive. We can't bring all of the baggage from the past with us. And as one of my favorite teachers and friends, Dwayne Gaines, says, forgive everyone all the time. So if you have any question about who or what, everyone all the time. Very simple. You don't ever have to wonder. Last week we looked at word number 2, you shall be with me in paradise. And this word is about the now moment. And we talked about the 2 people, the 2 men that were hanging on the left and the right of Jesus, the left representing the past, the right representing the future. And he says to them, you shall be with me in paradise, moving out of space and time, releasing the past, releasing the future, and finding the divine power here now. That's the only place that power is, right now. Yes? And so today we move into the third word, where Jesus says to his mother and James, woman, this is your son. Then he says to his disciple, this is your mother. It might be John. If it's not James, forgive me. I'm not forgetting in the moment on that one. And this represents oneness. Oneness. So listen very closely. Transformation requires an awakening to the deepest challenge of truth, which says you are one with all you see. Every one that you see is your reflection. Every person, your brother and sister in this world, they are to be forgiven by you for everything, and they are to be seen as innocent. In so doing, you will experience oneness. Yes? Thank you. Have a good day. That's it. That's it right there. But we'll break it down. There are different levels that we can look at the experience of oneness. And so we begin with looking at oneness within ourselves. Right now, we are, most of us, divided within. You are a crowd inside, yes? You are a crowd inside. Split, fragmented. Oneness is not experienced inside of you because of the warring of the crowd, the voices inside of you. We actually have a medical term for the extreme expression of that, forms of schizophrenia, mental illness, where the person is so divided on the inside that they split. We experience that, but you remain conscious in the center of it. Do you remember watching Sybil? I remember thinking, God, that could almost be me. Did you have that thought? The only difference is when I went from personality to personality, I remained the person that knew I was doing it. That's the only difference. This fragmented house in which we live is what causes us so much suffering. It begins with the one false idea that you are separate from the divine, that you are separate from this one power. Somewhere long line in time, there was the thought of being divided from it. And that division took over your consciousness, your mind. And you have renters in the apartment of your mind that need to be evacuated. But we become so familiar to them. We become so familiar to the divine. You've got such battling parts. Do this. No, don't do that. You're wonderful. No, you're awful. You have a moment of kindness inside yourself, followed with not too long of a time, by a judgment that swirls in. Am I alone? Okay. Take a breath. Take a breath. So many voices inside. And when we feel split inside and we're unaware of this, we see a divided world. I talk about this a lot. Split mind inside, 7 billion people designed that way. There's a pretty large agreement that there's a war out there, that there's a battle, that there's a split and divide in the world you see. See, the ego mind keeps it locked in that divide. And somewhere, the ego rises up with an I. I want to explain this, so stay with me. The I am presence, which is the connection to the divine. The ego grabs it and says, oh, I am, right? And then we began to and currently identify with that. And that I am feels and acts separately from the divine presence in you. And so it creates worlds upon worlds, problems upon problems, things to be solved, things to be resolved. Over and over and over, problems, things to fix, things that have to power up. This I that attached to the ego keeps looking for things to keep itself alive. That's where the division resides. Now, there's no division inside your spirit. Your spirit, the source, the life force, the Christ light, it sits in the center, smiling, relaxed, connected. It doesn't ride the waves of separation or suffering. Right inside of you, it just sits there. And in the beginning, when you align with it, it feels good, but then there'll be a moment where that voice goes, what are you, crazy? The world's out of control. You're going to sit there and be happy? Oh, and we pop over, right? So here's the great news. I talked about this in the Discover class yesterday. The fact that you are sitting inside of a conversation of thinking, or the conversation that there are two different voices, two different realities, one real, one fake, but still nonetheless two. The fact that you are here in this conversation means that you are at choice. You are at choice. You are remembering, oh, I am a powerful creator, and as a creator, I can choose. That's your power spot, to choose. Now, the separated, fragmented part has a lot of energy in it, has a strong gravitational pull. So it feels like it wins often, right? You start to go towards the oneness, and it feels good, and then it goes, whoo, and it just globs onto you. That's okay. Even that can be part of your journey, your transformation, the awareness. There are two ideas inside of me. One is real. That's a breakthrough. That's an awakening. That's a quantum leap in the mind. The next level that occurs in this division is we see the world divided, as I spoke. And it's so seductive, is it not? The horror, the pain, the suffering, the fighting. It's become polarized. We know this in our country, in the world. We're not alone. There's something that is fighting so hard to choose a side. And one is right and the other is wrong. And one is right and the other is wrong. And that's the game. That is what is outpictured. And then we believe it, and we talk about it, and we have dinner, and we argue about it, and we present our points of view. I want people to see my side. I want people to see my side. The whole time, oneness sits in the middle. Oneness sits in the middle with no need for a side. No side whatsoever. And we get that, which is why we keep saying, let's bring these two together. Hear me, that's the illusion. You don't bring these two together. You let this one go, you let this one go, and you just melt back into oneness. Does that make sense? It's we let our side go, and then we will naturally meet in the middle. So there's a divided mind, impossible to see oneness. There's the divided world, fighting, impossible to see oneness. And here's the truth. In that divided mind, you don't want to understand the other. You don't. Let's just be real. Are you okay with the real conversation today? You don't want to understand. Or you think you should, or they should understand you, or they should do it your way. They shouldn't have piercings on their bodies. They shouldn't have tattoos. They should wear their pants higher. Caught you. I knew I'd catch you on that one. They should learn to speak good. These are your divisions. Why do you care how someone wears their pants? Seriously, if I could give you that freedom today, I'd be happy. Why do you care? You gotta pause and check yourself. You have got to check yourself. Really, really. I don't care if they walk down their underwear. I don't care. It's their world. It's their life. Do you? And but that's so hard to find sometimes. Again, when it goes against our grain. And as we are getting older, it will get more challenging. We will get more curmudgeon-y as the youth become more and more free. As they become more free, must we become more locked down? God, help us all. And by the way, if you haven't noticed, we're here for a lot longer time than our grandparents were. We're going to see a lot more. See a lot more crazy coming up. But it's also beautiful. By the way, you guys were Woodstock, so don't kid anybody. Don't kid anybody. You did crazy drugs they don't even know about. All right. That divide leads us into believing that we are divided from nature. And this one has a very unique pain body because nature can't talk back. Right? I know I'm making you look at it a little bit. I'm aware of that. But this is what we see. This is what is happening, not because there's a problem out there, because we have not solved the problem in here. And the out there is just mirroring to us bigger and bigger and bigger. You are divided. You're moving from non-life, and non-life is destructive. Not ultimately, but it could be a much better experience for everyone. Nature is, for many of you, that connecting place, isn't it? You can get out there and take a breath and feel that connection. But this is what happens to us when our brothers and sisters are experiencing harm, when the earth is experiencing harm. I get it. It's overwhelming, isn't it? It is overwhelming. And so there are so many times where we just choose numbness. We choose to be numb because it feels insurmountable. What part is telling you it's insurmountable and go numb? The ego. The part that suddenly you're battling with because it should fix it. You're in the divided self trying to find the solution. It's impossible. So we go numb. It's a smart choice. But it's not a living choice. It's not a connected choice. Which leads us to our next divide, which is where it all begins, in the beginning and the end. Excuse me, our division with God. We're so angry. So angry. And it often goes up, doesn't it? Like this. Angry at God. Whenever you're there, you're at the external, you're at the separated experience that you were taught and that you embodied. And you're screaming at something out there that isn't even out there. Are you getting the insanity of the journey? So, how do we change? How do we experience that shift back to oneness, which is inside of us? I talked about this yesterday too. It's like Dorothy in those ruby slippers. The moment she landed in the dream, the moment she landed in Munchkinland, what was she given? Fabulous shoes. Come on. She was given, via those shoes, the way home. Right? How long did she walk? Well, we don't know, but it was the whole journey. And what she discovers is that the moment she was separated, she was given the way home. Didn't know how to use it. Didn't understand it, but it was always there. That's what the Holy Spirit represents in A Course in Miracles. The moment you believe you're separate, inside of you is what's called the Holy Spirit. It's like a lifeline. It's the connector that kind of does live in this separated idea that you can touch and tap and say, bring me home, bring me home, bring me home. But what's needed to do this, and hear me, it's the portal of powerlessness. You've got to accept that you are powerless to do it yourself. It is such a spiritual place. Now, I was forced to discover powerless. It was life or death for me. Some of us understand that. And I understand how much you will fight to not be powerless. It sounds like a dirty word, doesn't it? To be powerless feels scary. You feel like a rodent. You feel like, no, I'm not powerless. I can solve this. Well, if you could, you would. And it would be done by now. Powerless is a beautiful place. And there's a paradox. Please hear me. Powerless, powerful. Paradox. Coexistence. That's what paradox. And where there's paradox, there is God. In paradox, you can find God. So powerless leads you to powerful. Powerful returns to powerless. And it's the dance. And there are certain times when we need to land in one. And when it comes to moving back into oneness, back into the truth of your knowing your being where you are, I know that's confusing, but I have to say it that way. The portal of powerlessness is the fast track to say, I can't, God can. I can't, God can. Say that. I can't, God can. Take a breath. I can't, God can is freedom. Now again, we're just using language that sounds like it's separate because that's the language we have. But I can't, God can means this part that believes it's separate is never going to find its way home. The part that is the God light within me is the one that can reveal itself and bring me back to that peace and that experience of oneness. That's what can. Yes, it's who I am, but I can't be it from here. You get it, right? Yes. I can't. The small I can't. God can. The presence of love within me knows. It's intelligent. It knows how to become free from the belief, from the divided house within. It knows how to bring it together so that you sit in the center of a peace. And from that peace, you begin to look out on the world and you begin to see other things behind the drama that are happening and even more real. And from that, you feel a connection to nature that is natural. And suddenly you will be a healing presence for this planet. You'll be praying, you'll be coming to the event Friday night, naturally, because you'll go, I have to be where people are helping this planet and helping. This Friday night is about being with the planet, feeling the oneness, and letting the healing love flow from you. That's what we can do. The way we cop out is we just go, oh, it's too big, I can't do anything. That's complete bull. It's complete BS. You, oh powerful one, can't do something? That is just not possible. It's not possible. You are the possible one that can absolutely make the complete difference. But we must be powerless. It says in Luke, God exalts the humble. God exalts the humble. I love that. But humble, it's all about changing our minds. Stay with me. Humble got collapsed with humiliation. That's what happened. So when I say be humble, you think broken, beaten down. I might be humiliated. It's dangerous. Wrong. Separate. I'm not talking humiliation. Humble, open, receptive, like this, willing to learn, willing to grow. God doesn't have favorites. God just is able to flow through an open, humble mind. A part that says, I don't know everything, but everything is known in me. Let it flow. God can. God can. If I will be humble, if I will lay down my fight, if I'll just lay down my fight, and we ask, I humbly ask, and my mind be healed. I can't do it. That I see my brothers and sisters as oneness, as my reflection, as innocent. That I see the world not as a punishing place, but as a living organism of love. And that I give my love to this planet Earth, and I'm guided by the simple choices. No straws, by the way. Simple choice. No straws. Consider it. Just consider it. Simple little choices. And they will find you. Don't feel like I never go researching this. I just let the next one come. What's mine to do? Oh, I didn't know that was happening. That's good to know. I can make a difference there. I can do that. It feels easy. It feels light. Mother Teresa says, look across the dinner table. Be alert at work, at school, on the subway, at church. Be aware of what's around you constantly. God doesn't ask us to do great things. God asks us to do small things with great love. That's it. Isn't that it? So next time you're looking across the dinner table and they're chewing loud with their mouth open, don't roll your eyes. Take a breath. See the divine. Ask to be shown the innocence. It's the people at the dining table that can cause the most conflict, right? Yes. Because they've convinced you. Yeah, thank you. So don't worry about out there in the world. Just fix your dining room table. Just start there. I talk about the hula hoop. Stay in your own hula hoop. You got plenty of work to do there. Let them wear their funny pants. You got work to do right here in your own hula hoop. And you will awaken, and you will see the oneness inside of you. It's miraculous. And the whole thing will flip over and just be like, oh, I'm the creator. I am one with this power. This is who I am. And I am one with it all. But you won't be one with all the broken problems. You'll be one with all the beauty. Do you get that? You're one with all the beauty. Take a breath. Go to that picture. Next one. Next one. Oh, that'll work. It's good. It's good. I'm good. I'm good. You're good. I'm good. We're one. All right, let's take a breath and move into some prayer. This is an important time. Please make this more meaningful. Go within. Take a breath. Bring your attention back to the center where we started in the meditation. I find it in my solar plexus. And just let a light appear, even if you imagine it. Just see. Mine is white and golden. It's white and golden. And as soon as I place my attention upon it, it begins to grow. Right from the center, up the spine. It flows through this body temple, but it only uses that as imagery because it's much larger. It grows beyond the edges of the body, into the energetic field. This light grows ginormous. It's so big that I'm looking at a little body in the middle going, oh, I thought I was that? That's like a the head of a pin. It's so tiny. I am the great light. And this great light is beautiful and connected and perfect. And it's all that there is. And I know that we are this perfect, beautiful light, the Christ light, the awakened light, the one power. Breathe. And I admit, for myself and for each of us here, that when we forget, we are powerless. We become powerless over the dramas of the world, over the dramas of the mind, over the fears of the heart. God, heal me. Perfect love, heal our minds, heal our hearts. Restore us to the truth of oneness that I am. Today I give the gift to all my brothers and sisters, all of humanity, the gift of forgiveness. I, you, we are the place where humanity is set free by the simple intention, the truth. All is forgiven. All is forgiven. I ask that forgiveness set me and everyone free. And I know that we are now more able than ever before to see our brothers and sisters as innocent, as playful, as doing themselves, letting them be, and appreciating their lives. I speak this prayer for beautiful planet Earth, a living, breathing, beautiful organism, so complex, so beautiful. Healing light to the animals, healing light to all that lives in the oceans and the waters, healing love to the soil, to the trees, to the gardens, to the forest, healing light to all of it. I am one with thee. I am one with thee. And healing light to the living, connected, perfect relationship with God within. Connected now. Always listening, always speaking, always available. And I know in this connection, it's all there is. All there is. It's beautiful. It's good. Right here, right now. I'm grateful for the fulfillment of this prayer. In gratitude, I release it. I let it be. And so it is.